Hello, folks, and welcome back to another edition of Money in Motion. CJ here, as always, joined with Monte. An interesting start to the week. Was down a lot earlier in terms of like just equities and indices across the board, but Bitcoin really the only thing that's been resilient, pumping on the backs of influencers just yelling at each other. I can't really come up with any other reason why. But Monte, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, CJ. Good morning. And yeah, quite the pump we saw last night, right? Not bad at all for BTC, but as we start the day here, it is retracing rather quickly. That's something we've talked about in the past, right? About how, Bitcoin may show signs of high beta to the equity markets. But I mean, today, we're not seeing any correlation to the equity markets. Yes, they did gap down. I think that's contributing to part of it. But, really, some things I want to talk about today are the short squeeze we saw last night. It was a great example of why you shouldn't have been short alts into the weekend. That was something we discussed on Friday. If Bitcoin closed above that critical level of 26.2, that we could have seen this, and that's exactly what we got. Now, where do we go from here? That's going to be the real question. And I want to take a look at a few alts that I like as potential short plays if we do retrace from this level. So, and also, good morning, everybody in the chat. What's up? Good to see you all here. Happy Monday. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. But CJ, if there's any charts you'd like to start off with, please feel free to do so, my friend.
Awesome. All right, I'll pull them up. All right, let's go to BTC first. So we are above the 20 SMMA, which is somewhat notable, I guess. But really what I want to point at and why I bring up the technicals on the BTC chart today is just to show that we've successfully pumped into, I guess that would be the 50-day moving average.
Yep.
Since we are below the 200-day. Not all the way up, but we are, between 24.4 to 24.7. That's where we kind of expected this pump to maybe lose a little bit of steam. If we were to compare this historically, and it's also interesting too if you look at the time series. So the Death Cross pump in 2019 occurred with 200 days remaining until the halving. How many days do we currently have? So about 7. So we're about 2 weeks ahead, technically. But anyways, I think that is interesting. And, I don't know if we are really going to get above this level in the short term. I did take some profits in terms of like a BTC trading, leverage trading strategy, but like I haven't sold any from a long-term investor perspective. I think, maybe a little bit more pain to go to end the year, but I think, then we're probably going to see higher prices, at least in the crypto market. The resilience among equity weakness is really impressive. And if that continues, crypto could become a very attractive place to park capital. But I do want to just briefly go through some COT data because...
For sure. It's Monday.
Yeah, it is Monday. ES is back in a short. People are buying this dip. And the title of our show today is Investors Are Front-Running Seasonality. And we can see that a lot in terms of the equity inflows. This is actually a Zero Hedge article that I really liked. But as you can see here, the Hallelujah inflows. It's the largest weekly inflow to equity since March of 2022 as equity investors front-run seasonality. So, I see this as like the longer-term investors coming in to, position for potentially 2024. However, what's interesting is that hedge funds conversely have hit 20-day net flows that have been the most negative since mid-January. And if you look at this, they have a tendency to lag the market in their moves. Like they're really long at the most recent local top after in July. Very short. Typically, they've been wrong over the past year because they're looking, very short term. So, with all of that positioning and then COT kind of telling me to look for a short bias in equities, there's just not a lot here. So I don't really want to short NASDAQ or ES, and I don't really want to long them either. So they're just very neutral. There's not a lot there. Dollar is important. I think it's worth covering, and then I'll pass it back. But we focus on the dollar so much in terms of risk asset markets, and something that's notable, and why I had added this additional oscillator, is it's got a little bit of a faster look back period. Sometimes it catches when things return to neutral levels, and that can sometimes be good or bad. But as you can see, we're starting to get back to neutral territory. We basically have within the dollar, so there's not a whole lot of edge left in this trade, in my opinion, from the long side. And then if we look at things like euro or CAD, we're starting to see, maybe not COT, maybe not giving you a long signal yet. We're at 80, but like, look at this positioning. That's fair. That's a lot of selling in terms of commercials for both, or for large speculators and retail. So, people are buying the dollar or they're shorting these other currencies. The euro is already at 100. So, dollar's neutral. Equities are neutral. The only thing I'm really getting a good signal in is oats, but nobody really cares about that.
Except the horses.
Yeah.
No, but
So,
yeah, there's not a whole lot. I did notice that as well. Like, there's not a whole lot of clear directionality. And I think the obvious play here is to take some profit in BTC. Ryan points out, he says, nice BTC long, guys. And I got to give credit to you, CJ, because, this is something that we had talked about in the Discord last week. And, it basically played out exactly as expected, right? You put this in here on the 12th. This is our community Discord. And, see, he tags everyone, so everyone gets this alert to their mobile device and to their device. And you can see that, you're expecting this move to the upside back up to the moving average. This is the death cross squeeze, and we got it. So now that it's happened, I want to just say that I have taken some profit in BTC this morning. That being said, bouncing back a little bit here, I was hoping we'd do it on this candle, because look at that volume from the 15-minute perspective, and then a doji. I got a little bit scared with this breakdown, but I think this is just the equity markets opening and looking a bit weak. But now that they're trending back up, Bitcoin's looking like it may head back up as well. So I think we could see Bitcoin continue to rise, continue to be a high beta asset, even relative to the equity markets, which have been performing tremendously well all throughout this year. So I really like what I'm seeing with Bitcoin. I did take some profit this morning. That being said, if we do climb back up to this level, this is the 15-minute chart, mind you, and we break above, let's say 27. I'm gonna move it up to 27.5. Nice round number there. 27.5 would be my trigger for entry. I think if we break above that level, you can enter with some confidence that this is just another higher low in what is a continued trend, because we have some really nice volume coming in, outperformance relative to the equity markets, all stuff we've wanted to see. Now, of course, it was kicked off by a short squeeze last night. We did see 11.16 million in shorts liquidated. That being said, many bull runs have been kicked off by short squeezes. In fact,
they all are.
Yeah, they all
Everybody's always short at the wrong time, and
yeah, right.
just
It's
how
like
markets
everyone
go.
gets short right when the rally starts to kick off. So to me, like, this could be the start of something more significant, and especially now that we have a little bit of what looks like, at least from the 15-minute perspective, some more correlation between Bitcoin and U.S. equity markets. I think if we see both pump, Bitcoin could head back up towards that 30K range. So, I was happy to take some profit this morning after that nice move to the upside. That being said, we still haven't hit that 200-day moving average. Finding some resistance at the 50, but I do still think we could plausibly climb up to that 28K level where the 200-day moving average is sitting around before we see some serious rejection. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. And, there are some altcoins that are worth mentioning, but I've been rambling for a while now, so I'll pass it back to you, CJ. Anything in the crypto sphere that's catching your eye in particular to start the week?
Yeah, we'll get to crypto in a sec.
Okay.
This is just what I had highlighted. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I didn't realize this. I try not to check the Coco chart these days, but quite a move we've had today. Virtually erased all last week's gain. I think that might be one of the largest one-day losses, obviously, since this limit down day. But then prior to that, you really never had much. Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, let's look at this at like, have we ever been? This might be as crowded long speculators have
Wow.
ever been since the beginning of the contract's creation in 1985 for Coco.
That's crazy. Do you think it has to do with like the storms? I mean, it feels like there's been so many different hurricanes and whatnot that have
Yeah,
been
that's
affecting.
obvious. I mean, yeah, I think that's the main cause for all of these softs just going crazy over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
It's
right.
got to be weather and obviously inflationary factors, supply chain.
Yeah,
I'm not a
sure.
fundamental analyst of this stuff, but I would assume it's a variety of those factors.
Right.
As for crypto, let's talk about stuff.
I knew you were going to bring that up, and I'm glad you did because I wanted to ask you about coin because I think that this is looking tempting today. I really like the formation you have drawn out there. But with this formation, I'm wondering, are you waiting for a breakout above that this ascending triangle, or do you think that entering now with a stop loss below that ascending line is a feasible play? Because that's kind of what I want to do. I know I'm a bit of an aggressive trader, but what are your thoughts on that?
It's good to be aggressive when things are trending. It's not good to be aggressive when things are like doing nothing. But I think they're starting to trend.
Fair
And
point.
if you look at, let's go back to the coin BTC chart. So rolling over a bit. But regardless, I have 80% allocation in coin. As for like dry powder, the other 20% I'm saving for maybe a remote event risk type situation if we have some type of black swan. But it feels like a lot of people are waiting on that second touch of the lows on Bitcoin, like what we had in 2020, following COVID. But it's tough to be banking on a black swan. I mean, it's pretty clear that crypto is likely bottomed. So yeah, 80% allocation in coin. If we go down and test some of these lows, then I'll just lever up. And of course, once we get a little bit more strength. But
Sure.
this one it just seems to be everybody's favorite coin to short.
Right.
Kind of reminds me of Aptos and Sui. But who knows if it actually, does something similar. Lido is another one we've been looking at and buying. I think that ultimately long term, the liquid staking derivative narrative is going to be huge. And if Wall Street really knew about, what Lido's impact could be, I think it'd be trading at like 10x or 20x its current valuation. But we need some mania before any of that happens. But as for crypto, it's about all I've been looking at. Let's go through some of the other crypto equities, and I'd like to hear if you're looking at some of these as well, Monte.
Sure thing.
Man, Mara is really disappointed.
Yeah, I know, especially when you compare with Riot. It's like, what is going on today?
Yeah, I think they just diluted. I think they have the most dilution out of any like Bitcoin miner. I guess all the miners are. If we look at the Valkyrie Bitcoin miners ETF, all of them have really underperformed, and things like MicroStrategy and Coin have actually been outperforming the miners. What do you say? What do you make of that?
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm looking at the Mara daily chart here, and it doesn't look pretty at all, despite the fact that Bitcoin's pumping today, and even in like a more like interim time frame, like this doesn't look great. Like this doesn't look like something that's gonna, necessarily climb higher on the back of this move up in Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin, being up over 2.5% today isn't enough of a catalyst to drive up these miners, then what is? Perhaps we see a delayed effect where it's like, okay, now that Bitcoin's at this price, Mara runs up. But that's typically not how it works. We typically see, we like to refer to these assets as almost the altcoins of
Yeah,
the
we gotta get the Nasdaq going before those will go up.
that's
That's really
exactly what I was
that's the
about to say
only
is
that's the key.
is like I think that right now they're being held back by the Nasdaq. And despite the fact that Bitcoin's up 2.71% today, ETH up 2.1%, lots of alts like even Litecoin up 5.6%. That definitely is short covering. Same with Bitcoin Cash, like 5.5%. It is surprising to see like Mara looking the way it is. But I would agree with you 100% that right now it's being held back by the equity markets. That being said, if the equity markets do turn and we're like hovering around 28K Bitcoin, we could see a nice jump in these miners and a nice little game of catch up. But that's not something I want to speculate on. Again, I want to buy things that are showing signs of strength, relative strength. And right now, like in the crypto related equities sphere, what's showing relative strength is Coinbase. And you know, you CJ highlighted the ascending triangle formation and extrapolated that breakout point. I think that this is, if you were to play the crypto equities, there's clearly a favorite horse here, and it seems to be Coinbase. And I'm not going to buy Mara just because it's weaker in anticipation of it playing catch up, right?
Oh yeah, that's the worst mistake you could make.
Exactly.
One of the worst mistakes. There's probably a reason for Mara's underperformance. You don't want to, engage in that.
Right. Right. So Coinbase looks good. Plus, you have that defined risk that you highlighted there. So right now, that's where I'm looking, and I think that has some actually very significant upside potential. So I like that as a trade. I only have purchased spot, but if we do break out of that top ascending triangle, I might actually look to buy some options because then I'm
Oh
expecting.
boy.
Because then I expect some velocity. Then I'm expecting a little bit more. That's a breakout level. If we break out of
We'll
there,
just get them while the volatility's low.
yeah. As we like kind of like pinch into that wedge there of that ascending triangle, I'll be looking at some options plays and posting them in the Discord. So, yeah, that's what I'm basically looking at. Really, like I said, sold a little BTC this morning, but we'll be looking to get back in if we break above those highs. But overall, encouraging way to start the week, I gotta say.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. Wondering when these FTX holdings or
Doesn't
wondering
matter.
when that's ever going to make a difference.
I think it's already been priced in. We talked about this, but if everyone knows that those coins are going to be dumped in the open market, then they're already dumped, right?
Yeah, we say everybody knows, but I mean that's like 200 people left trading. We'll see. It's hard to rely on the efficientness of this market because it's so immature still, especially with low volumes lately. But yeah, I mean Solana, Lido.
I don't know if you checked
looking
Bitcoin's volume, but it was like up 200% in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's
It's
the
just
most.
been so.
Most has been up this calendar year in a 24-hour period. I'm speaking relative strength, so that's significant. Like those are metrics that can't be overlooked. And like in terms of like leading indicators, volume I think is really the only one that you can give a whole lot of credence to. And
Agreed.
seeing that it's up 200% today, man, it's making my mouth water a little bit.
All right.
I just put the top in.
Yeah. Ironically, some of the best trades are the ones you don't want to take, or the ones in which your mouth is like very dry and you're nervous to press the buy or sell button.
True. It's true.
So let's not get lured. Although, you know what you're going after. So
True. Yeah, I'm no novice. I'm no novice. But anyways, I think that is all we got for today, unless there's anything else you'd like to add.
I mean, I was gonna talk about oil a little bit, but I don't think that's really that relevant. I mean, look, it's gonna go up still. I mean, it's
Yeah,
down a
nuts.
little bit today. But it's just like between that and the dollar last week, all I could hear, and you'll probably continue to hear it if we have continued price action, but every commentator, it's like, oh, the macro ramifications of higher dollar and higher energy prices are going to wreck stocks and we're going to go much lower. And fair points, right? Fair points. But they're so prevalent beliefs that we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the contrarian view has been the correct view so far this year. So when you hear a narrative gaining that much traction and being that prevalent on mainstream media, then perhaps consider doing the opposite, because they tend to be a nice fade. But um, yeah, nonetheless, that's all I got for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the participation in chat. Really appreciate it. You guys rock. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on notifications. It really helps out the channel, helps get more viewers in here. And we love having you guys participating in the chat. It makes it a lot of fun to do these shows. So also, don't forget, you can check out 14-day free trial at tradethechain.com. First thing I check every morning, see what's hot, see what's not, see what's trending, see what people are talking about. And this will also get you access to our Discord, where you get access to the trade insights, like the one I had featured that CJ put out when Bitcoin was back down at, what was it at, like 24K or 23K. Before this big pump. Regardless, it was published on the 12th. So you can go through, look through all our trades, see if you like it or not. If you don't like it, it's not for you. You can leave, but if you like it, you can stay. We'd love to have you.
If you
And
don't like it, you can get out.
yeah, get out.
All right. All right.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you at the same time tomorrow. Take care and happy trading.